Hello, good afternoon, dear students. We were facing some difficulties because of which the live got delayed further than this. We could not start at the scheduled time. However, the quality is not going to be compromised. We are still going to have a great time learning. Yes, so this is your part 4 of ethics chapter. Alright. Last time we had ended here. We were talking about different types of attitude and the components of attitude, etc. And today we will discuss reasons. We will discuss reasons for sexual exploitation or crime against women. You could have some ready-made points in case you have to write an answer, in case you are asked what are the reasons for sexual exploitation, sexual crimes against women, and also for your essay, these points could be really helpful. So let's go through it once. Patriarchal society is the number one reason for sexual violence. Indian society has always been solidly patriarchal. Now, as women refuse to subscribe, earlier when women were subscribing, they were accepting the patriarchy. Even then, women were always facing sexual violence or crime against them. But now, as we see the society changing, what happens? Women now refuse to subscribe to traditional gender roles, like childcare is considered to be a traditional gender role. It is childcare, women are expected to do the childcare single-handedly without any contribution from their male counterpart, from their fathers, or taking care of the house, taking care of children, cooking, cleaning, washing clothes and everything. These are there's some disturbance in the sound. I have to change the mic. Just give me one moment. Leave the class. You should leave the class, in fact. This class is not for you. You should leave the class, in fact. This class is not for you. ঠিক আছে? Class to begin কৰিব পৰা নাই কোনোবাই সোমাই মেলি they have started complaining. I have not even begun. আৰু ইমান দিনৰ পৰা মই ক্লাছ কৰাই আহিছো my students have been enjoying this issue আছে noise okay voice get out of the class immediately. Sabasan, how is it? কেনেকুৱা আছে এতিয়া? classes, or you can join different channels. ठीक है sir, this is a free initiative that I'm doing for you all, for people who are comfortable in English language and you don't know the way I teach and the way I explain, so don't try to be over smart unless you can come and teach here. ठीक है sir? Start Kurumapari. How is the voice now? Can anyone tell me how is the voice now? We were facing very much difficulties in my mic, in the sound and everything. Is it clear now, or you still have some? Can anyone tell me how is the voice now? Better, I think. A little bit better. Anyway, okay, fine. Let's begin. So, as they seek to educate themselves, we've been talking about the patriarchal society, okay? So, when women refuse to subscribe to traditional gender roles, the functions that are expected to be carried out by women alone, as they seek to educate themselves, they want to educate themselves. Women these days want to educate themselves, they want to work and work outside home, and they choose their own marriage partners. And as a result, women face patriarchal backlash, common phenomenon that we see most of the time. Then attitude. What about attitude? Across cultures, attitudes towards gender are likely to affect how male-female relationships are viewed. How male-female relationships are viewed differs from culture to culture. In India, in our Indian culture, the way women are treated or women are viewed in Indian culture is hugely different from the way women are viewed in Western culture or further East Asian cultures. Again, the way women are seen in mainland India, that differs. We do not see women the same way mainland India sees women. So our northeastern culture is again different. So it depends on culture as well. And subsequently how the sexual offenders and the victims are viewed. Okay? When there's violence against women, when there's rape, you can see a lot of people, they will say that they will blame the victim. It's called victim blaming. They will say that, oh, because they were wearing, such certain kinds of clothes, they were trying to attract male attention, and therefore they deserve to be, sexually abused or raped. They blame it on women. आपको क्या प्रॉब्लम हो इसे निकी सुन वॉइस तो सुन आपको क्या प्रॉब्लम हो इसे निकी नहीं it's fine now. Okay, then we have challenge to social and political dominance of men. There is equality of all individuals before the law. The surge in attacks on women is an angry attempt by men. They're saying angry attempt by men to sustain the overwhelming social and political dominance they have long enjoyed for, centuries. Men have been enjoying their position, which is higher than women, enjoying their political and social dominance. Now things are changing or about to change. They cannot accept it. Their views have been challenged by modern notions of gender justice, and because they are frustrated because of it, they are angry because of it, and it's an angry attempt, and because of which they attack women. Images portrayed by advertisements in films. Bollywood films aimed increasingly at rapidly westernizing middle class. See, portray romance and desire as inevitable byproducts of contemporary life, creating further sense of frustration, especially amongst the unemployed young men who watch them. The unemployed youth that watches new Bollywood films, which are influenced by Western middle class society, where they portray romance, where they uplift or emphasize on romance, on equality, you know, that makes the unemployed youth frustrated to see women enjoying freedom, women enjoying financial independence, right? Then we have compliance. Compliance. See, ways in which individuals respond to social influence. So that part is over now. Okay. Our next part is how individuals respond to social influence. You are experiencing social influence. How do you respond to that? See, compliance. You will either comply. Number one is compliance. Compliance is when an individual is not fully convinced with the other person, but shows agreement at the surface level. At the surface level, I do not completely agree with you, but I do not oppose you openly either. I will just choose to keep quiet. See, example, in a conversation, a person makes a racist comment. For example, somebody makes a racist comment. The other person is offended. You are offended. You are not agreeing to it. You do not like it. But you say nothing. Here, the other person is merely shows compliance. You are compliant. You do not like something. You do not like a policy, a scheme of the government, but you do not say anything. You just choose to keep quiet. That is compliance. We are complying. Okay. Next, identify. You either comply or you identify. In this case, an individual idolizes the other influential person. Idolize the other influential person. Identifying with a person that you like, that you appreciate. See, example, a college student drinks Pepsi because his favorite celebrity endorses it. Favorite celebrity. Therefore, celebrities are always hired. They are paid huge amounts to endorse products because common people who appreciate them, people who are their fans, we always identify with the person we like. If they say something or we see them doing something, we are quite influenced and we want to follow them. Okay. Next is internalize. Internalize is again the degree. The degree is higher. In compliance, you do not agree. In identification, you appreciate it, and therefore you want to copy that behavior. Internalizing is a bit deeper. It is a bit more intense. Here, two individuals share the same belief system. You internalize it completely. Okay. In the example made for compliance, if the other individual too makes racist comments, your friend is making racist comments, and you start making racist comments too because you really believe it inside of you. You really believe it strongly. That means you have internalized the whole opinion, the whole concept. Okay, so this is the case for internalization. Normative influence. Normative influence. Types of social influence we are studying. Types of social influence. How do you react when in case of social influence you have studied? Now, what are the types of social influence? One is normative influence. An individual follows the crowd in order to be liked or accepted. Normative, you just follow the norm. You want to be a part of the norm. You don't want to stand out as someone abnormal, who would be considered abnormal. Okay, so in order to be liked or in order to be accepted by society, by your group, okay, so that is normative influence. By agreeing on common beliefs, values, attitudes, and behavior, an individual increases his chance of acceptance and survival possibilities. Survival possibilities means our brain is trained like that, because earlier we were quite dependent on the society accepting us. If the society ostracizes us and we are left alone, we would not have survived. Packs of wolves, tiger, or wild animals would have eaten us up, right? In order to survive, that is our survival instinct. In order to survive, we had to stay together with other human beings. We have to be a part of the group. But that survival instinct has stayed with us, and now our brain does not understand. Our brain thinks that if we are not included in the society, that is a threat to our survival. That is a danger to our survival. Our brain thinks so. Okay, so to increase our chances to increase our chances of survival, what do? We agree to common beliefs, common attitudes, values, etc. Okay. Then we have Solomon Asch. Solomon Asch. That is a social influence where when we study about social influence, Solomon Asch, he is a psychologist, and he carried out a very impactful and a breakthrough kind of experiment. And let's study that, okay? So it was an experiment where they were asked to compare the lines. For example, this is the main line. Let's call this line 1. And we have 3 lines, okay? 3 lines, for example. This is A, this is B, and this is C. What happened? In a classic study on normative influence conducted in 1950s investigated how group pressure could influence an individual to conform. Conform means to become like someone, to conform, to blend in, to adjust, okay? In his experiments, participants were shown a standard line. This is your standard line, and 3 comparison lines. They were asked to identify which comparison line matched the standard line in length. So here your comparison lines are A, B, and C, and you would be asked which comparison line A, B, or C matches the standard line. Each participant was in a room with several others. For example, you are a participant and you will be called inside the room and shown these lines, and you will see there are many other participants, but you are not aware that other people are actually confederates of the experiment. Okay, they are arranged, they are not real participants like you are, they are confederates. Now who were actually confederates instructed to give incorrect answers. Now, the other people in the room are given instructions, prior instructions, that you should give wrong answers. For example, if you see these lines, this standard line 1, clearly you can see that this one matches line A in length, right? But when other people who were instructed to give wrong answers, let's say this majority of them says that this one matches line B. So what happens in most cases, the person, the actual subject who is being studied, they say they change their initial answers, even if they think that okay, line number, the standard line 1 matches line A. But they will think, okay, because everyone is answering, everyone is saying that this one is matching line B, so maybe I am the one who is wrong. Maybe actually it is line B. So most people are seen to change their answers. Okay? Sorry. Act found that a significant number of participants confirmed, changed, blended, and adjusted to the group's incorrect choices despite clear evidence to the contrary. It's very clear that this standard line matches line A. But because most people were giving wrong answers, you confirm and you start giving wrong answers too. Okay. Evidence to the contrary. Illustrating the powerful this experiment, Solomon Ashes experiment, okay, shows the powerful effect of group norms on individual judgments. Powerful effect of group norms on individual judgments. If you can quote, you don't have to write the whole experiment and what happened, but you can just say that Solomon Ashes experiment proves how strongly this line, what a powerful effect group norms have on individual judgments. Just that conclusion you can include in your answers. Okay. Then another type. First, we have studied normative influence, conforming. Okay. Second, we have informative influence. An individual goes along the crowd because he thinks that the crowd knows more than him. Sometimes we doubt our own knowledge and we believe that other people, the crowd, the people, they know better than us. They have more knowledge than us. Particularly in two types of situations, this happens. Two types of situations produce informative influence. Okay. Number one is ambiguous situations. In ambiguous situations, when you do not know what to do, then you usually follow the crowd. When it is not very clear, you do not have enough information, and then you decide to just follow the crowd. That is number one. Number two, in crisis situations. In crisis situation, when an individual doesn't have time to think what to do. For example, during stampede, you are in a crowded, concert, for example, and suddenly a stampede happens. You do not know which way to run. You do not know what to do. Then you just see the crowd running towards this side. You also start running towards the same side. It happens during emergency situations in case of earthquake, fire, flood, whatever it is. You will just follow the crowd when you do not have enough knowledge, and during the crisis, you just start following the crowd. Okay. Next, public spirit context. Public spirit context. That is another kind of social influence. Public spirit. When we see other people doing something, we also feel like doing. Suppose in case of train accident, citizens rush to the hospitals to donate blood. Again, in our flood situation in Assam, we can see lots of citizens, youth, common citizens, the young people, they are coming out and helping people, providing flood relief, rescuing people. So that is the spirit of, that is public spirit context. Okay. Apart from doctors and hospital staff, you will see lots of common citizens, common people come out and help. Reciprocity. These are the principles of social influence. Principles, what are the principles of social influence? Why do we do what we do, right? Number one principle is reciprocity, because we people, we tend to give back what we receive. If we receive goodness, we try to give back goodness. Principle of reciprocity. If somebody helps us, we feel like helping them in return. So example is reciprocating smiles between individuals. If somebody smiles at us, we automatically smile back, right? Then consistency. Consistency. Generally, people try to be consistent with their previous actions, opinions, and assertions. That's why we have a predictable personality. We have predictable likes and dislikes, because generally we stay consistent in our beliefs, in our actions, in our behaviors. Yes. So consistency is one. Then social proof. Social proof. People often decide what to do by looking at what similar others have done. You will always decide what to buy, which car to buy, by looking at others, what similar others of your friend group, of your economic status, of your age group does or buys. Yes? So that is social proof. Then liking. Liking. People are often influenced by those people whom they like. Whom they like. If you like someone, you will be influenced by them. That's why this whole influencer game, it sustains people. This thing, exists. Influencers, because we are always influenced by people that we like. Celebrities, they exist because we are influenced by them. Then authority. People with power and authority tend to influence others. People with power and authority, they always influence others. Scarcity. Scarcity. Items and opportunities. Okay. Yeah, let's continue. What happened? Yeah, scarcity. The example, best example is diamond. Diamond is made precious by the very reason that it is scarce. If diamond was, available, it wouldn't be as precious, as pricey, right? So items and opportunities become more desirable when they are less accessible. For example, use of slogans like limited edition or last week for sale have immediate effect on people and they start buying it quickly. Then norms. What are norms? These are group held beliefs about how members should behave in a given context. Group held beliefs. Group held beliefs about how members should behave. in a given context. So that is what we call standards, that is what we call norms. Iman noise. These are informal understandings that govern society's behavior. These are informal understandings that govern societal behavior. Example, touching feet in Indian society is considered as a sign of respect, that is a norm in Indian society. Then we come to a very important topic which is called persuasion. When you are in office, when you work in the administration, persuasion is something you need to learn. It is an attempt to change a person's attitude, persuade someone. To persuade someone is what? An attempt to change their beliefs, to change their attitude towards something, someone, or any policy. Okay. So example is Swachh Bharat mission, focused on persuasion. Focused on persuasion to change the behavior of people regarding cleanliness. Persuasion, relied on persuasion to change the behavior of people regarding cleanliness. Persuasion can also result in more submission and obedience. Persuasion, when we persuade people, then they are more likely, or there are more chances, the chances of submission and obedience increase. And then we have persuasion refers to the process of changing the attitudes and behaviors of the target group towards some event, idea, object, or another person in the intended direction. You want to change someone's attitude, someone's behaviors towards a target group or idea or event or person towards your intended direction. You want to change the attitude by using written words or spoken words to convey the information or feelings or reasoning why you should change your behavior. So information has to be provided, new feelings have to be generated, and provide new reasoning. Example, disclosing, persuade. We persuade people to disclose their income. People hide their income to avoid tax evasion. Yes, disclosing income to avoid tax evasion. Then Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, to change the attitude of people towards girl students, girl child, right? Girl child and girl students. Their survival first and their education. Then Give It Up campaign, to give up subsidy. People who are not in the BPL category, who take subsidy through unfair means, they have to give up their subsidy. Then celebration of Earth Day, for example, to persuade global citizens against climate change. Then again we have encourage extremist. There's some kind of renovation or construction going on that is creating noise again and again. Is it disturbing you all? Can you hear that noise? So annoying. Now, encourage extremists to leave path of violence in northeastern and Naxal affected regions. Then we have persuasion is a receiver-centric exercise. That means we have to understand the receiver, the person we are trying to persuade. We have to understand them. এইটো কৰিবলৈ বন্ধ কৰা নাই, ইমান ধমধমাই আছে। ঠিক আছে, সেইটো কৰিব বন্ধ কৰা আছে, বহুত ডিস্টার্ব হৈছে। It is a receiver-centric exercise. It is not what the source says. It is what the receiver understands. You have to understand the receiver. Who am I sending this message to? Who am I trying to persuade? The receiver. Without having a proper understanding of the receiver, this exercise will fail because it is a receiver-centric exercise. So 4 things are important in persuasion. These are called constructs of persuasion, and they are the source, first of all, the source from whom the message is coming. So, persuader, a person who is trying to persuade, he is the persuader and he is the source. Then number 2 is the message. What am I trying to say to persuade? Then the audience, the receiver, the persuadee, okay, who I am trying to persuade. Number 4 is channel or medium through which I am trying to persuade, the channel or the medium. So remember these. Important, okay, this might be asked in the exam. Source, message, audience, channel or medium, right? Next. So what is important? Source credibility. Source. First of all, we are starting with source. So the credibility of the source determines whether the persuading exercise will be successful or not. So a source can be credible because he is an expert and can be trusted. To access credibility, following things are important. To access credibility, following things are important. How? How will we determine that the source is credible or not? By expertness, judged by the knowledge, knowledge potential of the source, how informed that person is, how educated that person is, how much knowledge or expertise does he have in the matter. Okay, so, and number 2 is trustworthiness, judged by finding out whether the source has a vested interest. So if the source has some vested interest, then that person, even though he might be knowledgeable or might be an expert, but when we get to understand that this person might be having some vested interest, then we will not be persuaded as easily. We will not, comply to what that person is saying. For example, Randeep Guleria, AIMS, this is about COVID vaccine. Okay, he was the director of AIMS, and that makes him a credible source because of his expertise, experience, knowledge and everything. He was seen on TV persuading people to take COVID-19 vaccine. It was something new. He was trying to persuade people to take COVID-19 vaccine, and because of his position, his authority, his knowledge and expertise, he is a credible source. Then source likability. A source is likable if he is similar and attractive. A source is likable when a source is attractive, like attractive to look at. That is why, actresses, beautiful actresses are they endorse or they are hired to promote products, beauty products, because they are attractive, right? So the attractiveness of a source and similarity, or if a person is similar to you and you can relate. For example, let's say for schools and colleges or education, they always use advertisements or posters of young students. Why? Because you will be able to relate with them, because they are of the same age and same journey as you all are. So instead of hiring a celebrity, a singer, an actor to promote an educational institution, which they do sometimes, but still most of the time college going students or youngsters are shown in the posters or ads. Then there is a implicit assumption that attractive people are also intelligent. This is the halo effect. When you are good in one thing, you are perceived to be good in other things as well. So it creates a halo effect, it's called in psychology. Okay, the primary factors that decide the attractiveness of the source include physical features, communicative, they have to have attractive physical features, then they have to be communicative, then they have to be versatile. Versatile means having multiple talents across different areas. Yeah, then attitudinal similarity, same attitude as you. Example, advertisements rope in people with attractive personalities to make their products appealing. Next is power. It has the potential. Power has the potential to change the behavior of the target group in the intended direction despite their resistance. So even if people have resistance towards certain things, but if a person in power, for example, Narendra Modi, when he says something or urges people to do something, people are most likely to do that. Then we have power, attractiveness, and credibility will cause behavior change in different ways. But we were studying how people are influenced. So there are different ways that people react to social influence, right? People comply when someone in a powerful position says something. When there's power involved, then people, they comply. They might not internalize it or completely believe it from inside, but they have to obey, they have to comply, because somebody in a powerful position has said something. So when there's attractiveness, people identify and follow when there's attractiveness involved. And when there's credibility, people really believe in your expertise or your knowledge or your intention, then they really internalize. It comes from within. Okay? Then there's a TARES test of a persuader or persuasive message. TARES test is what? 1 minute. TARES test acts as a guide for making and defending ethical choices. This test was developed by Baker and Martinson. Give me 1 moment, okay? There's so much noise. ডিস্টার্ব হৈছে ইমান ধমধমাই আছে কনষ্ট্ৰাকচন যে কাম কৰি আছে মই বহুত বাৰ বন্ধ কৰিবলৈ বহুত দিগদাৰ হৈছে নোৱাৰিছো নেকি ইমান বলে শুনিব লাগে This framework functions under the theory of utilitarianism, which maintains that the result of an action are equally important to the action itself when evaluating it ethically. Okay, let's see the test. TARES is an acronym. Okay, first of all, T stands for truthfulness of the message. T stands for truthfulness of the message. A stands for authenticity of the persuader, or the person who is speaking, authenticity. R is for respect for the persuadee. Do you have respect? Are you trying to exploit the people who you are trying to change, or do you have respect? Do you want to change their attitude or persuade them for something good? Okay, so that is respect for the persuadee. E is for equity of the persuasive appeal, equity, and S is for social responsibility for the common good. E is for equity of the persuasive appeal. what you are trying to appeal. What does it mean? Is it for good? Is it for their benefit? And S is the social responsibility for common good. Now see, when a message passes through all these stages of test, all these criteria, then we can say that that is ethical. Okay. Let's see. TERS is an acronym for truthfulness of the message, authenticity, respect, equity of the persuasive appeal, and social responsibility that we have seen. Next is persuasion requires a message to be presented in vivid language. First of all, the language has to be very clear and very vivid. It cannot be something ambiguous or cold that people cannot relate to. And backed by data. When there's data, people are likely to obey, people are likely to be convinced. The message should be such that it establishes a common ground with the target group. Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas slogan that hit home to most people and they felt included. So, a common ground with the target group, with the target people was established, and therefore it was a very strong persuasive message. Then we have best results are obtained when the persuasive message has both emotional and factual elements. Only factual elements will not be very effective, or only emotional angle will not be as effective, but when you have both, then it becomes very powerful. For example, selfie with daughters to promote Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. There's factual element, there's reason why we should educate our daughters, and there's an emotional element as well. Okay. Next is emotional factor. The message should have emotional content in that. For example, to motivate someone to stay fit or to quit smoking, one should not only cite scientific evidence to prove the point, but can also convince using the fear of deadly diseases or the joy of a healthy life. Now, there's scientific evidence of what happens, right, when people smoke. The data, how many people are affected, how how it damages your lungs, cancer and all of that. There is scientific evidence. But they can also be convinced using fear of deadly diseases. Fear is one thing, and you can make them imagine how wonderful, how joyful and how healthy their life would be if they quit smoking. Then we have fear appeal. When we use fear to persuade, fear is always used as a tool for good or for bad, okay? But extreme fears do not work. If you try to change someone by showing extreme fear, it does not act. Psychology says so, because people shut down. In case of extreme fear, they will just avoid the whole message itself. They will not look at it. They will not accept it. So mild and moderate appeals to fear generally work better than strong fear appeals. Strong fear appeals produce defensive avoidance, wherein the target group insulates itself from the message. How many of you have experienced that? When you see a packet of cigarette, or you go to the movies and see those tambaku ads, they show such gross, such visuals and pictures that you get so scared you don't even look at it. You just avoid it, or look somewhere else, or shut your brain and focus on something else. Scroll through your phone, and the time passes and you continue to enjoy your movie next, because of those extreme elements used. So people shut down and they avoid. Okay, they rarely seek, they rarely are open themselves up for the message. Then social proof technique. Message in persuasion. What kind of message are you using social proof technique you have to use. People tend to follow others more, which is called bandwagon effect. If somebody does something, you feel like doing that. This technique will involve you telling the target population that other people are getting benefits from the suggested change with empirical evidence, with data. You should be persuading people. For example, you are going to sell a certain kind of water purifier, RO purifier or whatever, or alkaline something these days, right? So when you go to the people and tell them that people have benefited from using this product, from using this particular type of purifier with empirical evidence, with data, then they are more likely to receive your message and believe you. For example, in campaigning against female feticide, Haryana government, what they did? They invoked the examples of some famous, successful female sports persons who have won laurels like Babita Phogat, like Rani Rampal, like Navneet Kaur. They used these examples to persuade them that do not kill your babies. Yes? Next. One is scarcity again. Scarcity is one technique that can be used in your persuasion message. This involves letting people know that they stand to lose a chance to get the benefits out of the proposed change. For example, we often see end of the season sale, or if you do not do it within the next week, you are going to lose. You are going to lose a chance. You are not going to get its benefits. So scarcity has always been used to persuade people. Then targeting values. People can manage their self-images by yielding to requests for action that fits or enhances their identities. Targeting values, their own identities. People can manage their self-images by yielding to requests for action that fits their or enhances. For example, you are going to sell a car, high-end luxury car, and you are saying that they already have a self-image that I belong to this class of the society. They have that self-image in place already, and you go and tell them that people of your class, people like you, are buying this car, and they are more influenced to protect their self-identity and self-image, or it will enhance, it will keep it constant, or to enhance, or to make them feel even better about themselves. They do it. Then the audience characteristics. Individuals are presented with logical arguments supported by relevant facts. They are likely to be persuaded. When the individuals are presented with logical arguments, you give them logical arguments and you give them facts, they are likely to be persuaded. Okay? When they are intelligent, intelligence is one factor. It refers to the information processing ability of an individual. Some people, no matter how many facts and figures and data and social proofing you bring to them, they will not be persuaded because they lack intelligence, they lack information processing ability. But when a person is intelligent because of their own superior critical thinking abilities, then what happens? They are less likely to be influenced by appeals that are illogical or not supported by relevant facts. And you throw them random facts without proper data or investigation or knowledge, then they will not be persuaded. Whereas people are manipulated who do not have superior critical thinking ability, and therefore whatever other people say, they get easily influenced, they get easily persuaded, or actually easily fooled when they lack intelligence. Okay. However, when presented with appeals that have factual backing, they are likely to be convinced. And those same people, if you have appeals which are logical, which have factual backing, they are likely to be convinced. Then, channel factor. The medium, the channel is important. Using the appropriate channel for communication. Example, use of street play is more effective to convey message on social issues in villages. If you give them thick books and data, it will not be effective. A street play will be more effective in convincing people who are from the villages. Then, functions of persuasion. Why do we need to persuade? What is the role? What is the function of persuasion? Weaken the current attitude. When there is a current attitude that is not helpful, so persuasion helps in weakening the current attitude and replacing it with a better attitude. When the audience has a contrasting attitude, persuasion can help them in making the audience less comfortable with the current attitude and develop a better attitude. Then moral conditioning. Persuasion can bring change in the social attitude of people. For example, regular announcements to keep the station clean persuade people to change their behavior. That is moral conditioning. Regular announcement, time to time announcement to, keep the station clean helps in eventually, it will take a long time, but eventually people will change their behavior. Then third is to minimize resistance. When the audience has moderately opposed ideas, persuasion can move the audience towards neutrality. Even if you cannot make it instantly positive, but you can make it neutral at least. Then change attitude. When the audience has no committed attitude, persuasion can help in changing the attitude. When no strong attitude is there, you can help in changing the attitude or building a new attitude. Then intensifying. When an audience has the same attitude as you, and that is your intended, your desirable attitude, but you can amplify that positive attitude that is already there. You can amplify it. You can blow that up. Okay. Then gain behavior. When the audience is strongly in sync with the persuader, the final objective is to make the audience act. Finally, we need to make them act. They need to behave, gain behavior. Next, ways to resist persuasion. For example, you are an aware individual and you want to resist persuasion. You do not want to be persuaded by other people who you know that they do not have the right intention, but they are trying to persuade you. In that case, how will you resist? Give me one moment. I'll drink water. So, attitude inoculation means resistance. Just like a person who has been exposed to a weak virus becomes resistant. In case of vaccines, you are exposed to weak virus and you become resistant to a disease. Similarly, a person who has been exposed to counter argument develops resistance to persuasion. If you expose a person to counter arguments, they will become resistant to persuasion. They will not be easily persuaded if they already have counter arguments in place. Okay. Then forewarned. When a person is being forewarned of persuasion attempts, he develops psychological reactance that motivates him to resist such attempts. Forewarning gives an opportunity to come up with counter arguments. Either you give them counter arguments or give them a forewarning that, see, those are the group of people who will persuade you. They are trying to brainwash you. If you warn them beforehand, they will develop a psychological reactance and they will themselves come up with counter arguments. They will be ready to counter the persuaders. Then boomerang effect again. When a person develops a psychological reactance towards an attitude object, an attempt of persuasion is countered with equally strong response. During COVID-19, medical staff were assaulted by the people as they had developed a negative attitude, counter arguments towards disease treatment. Then stockpile. What is stockpile? Knowledge. Okay. A healthy person who is well read and equipped with cognitive and social resources is able to resist persuasion better. That's why you cannot persuade or fool intellectuals very easily. Again, if you have to know how to make persuasion effective, if you have to make persuasion effective, you have to pass on a message, change behavior of the people of your district, for example. These are the ways. Establish a positive rapport, first of all. By establishing a common ground, you have to establish a common ground, gain their trust, become close with them, become friendly with them first, number one. Number two, emphasize the advantages, the benefits of being persuaded or accepting the change in behavior that you intend. Instead of trying to push for change, the persuader should point out the advantages. If you point out the advantages, then the persuadee will get easily persuaded and get influenced to change their behavior. Then storytelling. For thousands of years, we have been influenced by powerful stories. For example, triumphs of truth in Ramayana motivates us to speak truth only. So you can use stories, you can use scriptures to persuade people. Then turn objections into opportunities. Persuaders should agree with the audience's objections and then illustrate them how it can be overcome with proposed changes. Okay? See, persuaders should agree with the audience's objections. You are trying to persuade a group of people, a crowd, an audience, and they have objections, okay? Objections. They are not ready to obey your message or accept your message easily. Then you have to agree with them. If you dismiss them, then no, you are wrong, I know better than you, whatever you think or believe is total garbage. If you dismiss them clearly, then they will become resistant. They will not understand or receive your message. First, you have to agree that yes, whatever objections you have or your point of view is true. You have to accept that first of all, and then illustrate them how it can be overcome with proposed changes. Their objections, whatever counter arguments they have, accept that first and then show them how to overcome all those, how to overcome their fears, how to overcome their objections. Then commitment. Prospect should be persuaded to commit to small actions first. Small actions first, bit by bit. You cannot expect huge change overnight, but we should be asking them to take small actions, baby steps, one step at a time. We need to take commitment from them. Once committed, the prospect is most likely to agree to a larger idea. If they obey us for something smaller, if they agree to something smaller, more and they do it, most likely what they will do? They will agree to something bigger. Then strong feelings, strong emotions can also be persuasive since they draw attention to themselves and stop listeners from coming up with reasons to obey. When you give strong emotions, strong feelings, then they draw attention, since they draw attention to themselves, and it stops them from listening to counter arguments any further. Then of course bandwagon effect is there already, and you have to use this particular term. It involves showing the target population the benefits which people have got by adopting the change. That is called bandwagon effect. I have been repeating this again and again. Then scarcity is there, we have discussed it. Lowballing, lowballing is there, means it is a persuasion technique in which a product is offered at a lower price than it is intended to be charged. Something will be written and offer price, a lesser amount will be written. So that is lowballing. Show them that this is actually what you need to do, but for now it's okay if you do little bit. If you do little bit, if you change your behavior tiny bit, even tiny bit, it will work for now. If you show them, then they are like, that's okay, this is only a tiny task, we can easily do it. Then social influence and peer pressure is always there. It plays a very important role in attitude formation as well as changing. Removal of prejudice and group decision making, we know that. Then praise works, we are all made to feel special by praise. So do it more often. Everybody likes to be praised. Administration's attitude towards the masses. Administration's attitude towards the masses. What does the administration think about people? Some of the points that you are aware of, you know it already, but let's discuss quickly, okay? There's a wide cultural gap between the administrators and the masses, usually. This is the case, this is the reality, this is the scenario. As the administrators largely come from upper middle class, who deal with rural masses, who are poor, who are illiterate. So as it is, there's a huge cultural gap. Then bureaucracy points that people are unaware of their rights. Bureaucracy, administrators will say that they are not educated enough, they do not know their rights. Administrators feel that people don't have adequate knowledge of rules and regulations. And they will complain also that people try to pressurize them through politicians. That is there. This is the viewpoint of administrators towards the common citizen. They also complain that citizens don't cooperate with them to bring change in society. So they don't understand them, they don't understand rules, they don't cooperate with them to bring change. So these are the complaints that administrators have. Why are public officials not able to persuade the target group? The reasons why public officials fail in persuading target group. Let's see. The reason for this is presence of certain barriers. There are certain barriers. As we have said, that there's a huge cultural gap. There are certain barriers because of which they are not able to persuade the target group. So barriers could be semantics, something related to language or symbols. Semantics means sometimes the policies or the schemes become so technical to them that they do not understand the meaning, the language of it. People fail to understand the language, fail to understand the meaning or the symbols. So that is called a semantic barrier. Then we have psychological barrier, mental psychological barrier, and as well as physical barriers not being easily or approachable. Okay, so if the public official can overcome these barriers, semantic, psychological and physical barriers, only then persuasion will be successful. Power is the potential to change the behavior of the target group in the Power is the potential to change the behavior of the target group in the intended direction despite their resistance. So that's how you know that you are powerful. To overcome these barriers, DM can use various influence techniques such as involving Sarpanch. You can involve a Sarpanch because Sarpanch, by involving a Sarpanch, you are overcoming this physical barrier that you have, because the Sarpanch is someone who belongs to their group and therefore there is no physical barrier as such. They know the Sarpanch quite well, so physical barrier is removed. To overcome these barriers, as well as psychological barrier is removed because they can relate to the Sarpanch. Semantic barrier will be removed because Sarpanch can translate it to their own common language. The Sarpanch can make them understand in the language that they are more comfortable with. Along with that, he or she must take feedback from the target audience to rectify any shortcoming. Then, now we have publics. Earlier we studied the administrator's attitude towards public. Now we have public's attitude towards administrators. So, public complaints against the administrators regarding corruption is a problem that public see. Delay in disposal of cases, then exploitation is there, favoritism, nepotism, all of these things. Okay, public is suspicious about the integrity of public officials. They doubt the integrity of the public officials and they are generally perceived to be involved in corruption, generally. Okay, they feel that public officials are devoid of any human considerations. They feel that public officials are devoid of any human considerations. They do not have any human considerations, they think. They create scope for middlemen who in turn exploit them. When there's a barrier between public officials and the citizens, therefore middlemen come in and they try to exploit, make and misuse this gap that there is. Then how to improve? Creating public relations agency in administration to serve as a conduit between the public and the administration. Public should shed this negative role. Public should also shed this negative role and adopt a positive role. Citizen support. They have to be active instead of just criticizing, and citizens have to support, and cooperation is essential for the success of government program. Okay, and in these times of rapid change, one of the major challenges of public administration is to adapt to changing situations. Adapt to changing situations. Then also, what should the administration do? Administration should maintain constant contact with the public, especially those from the rural areas, Hota committee said. Okay, and then social audit should be there. Social audit, which involves auditing of project from the beneficiaries. The beneficiaries have to give feedback. They have to audit the social projects, the projects that are meant for them. Then increasing accessibility to government servants by making public meetings compulsory. So public meetings have to be made compulsory so that accessibility might be increased. Okay, then government action only produces optimal results when it is based on trustworthy data and innovative capacity. Economic, social and security problems highlight the importance of the policy as a tool for change or progress. Then e-governance is there. This slide is not very important. Then citizen charter. This is important. Charter to make the citizens aware about the quality of service they receive and grievance redressal mechanism. So these are the keywords: grievance redressal mechanism, quality of service, citizen charter. This part is important. Also, to have a positive attitude in civil servant is crucial for effective governance. Having a positive attitude is very important for a civil servant in handling the challenges of public service. So, the key factors contributing to a positive attitude. What are the key factors? How do we know that a public servant, public official has a positive attitude or not? Self-awareness. A person needs to be aware of themselves. Are they motivated? Are they feeling good? Are they feeling sad or angry? Or do they have control? Basically, EQ. They have to be aware of themselves. Then openness to new ideas, courage to face fears, and a belief in the intrinsic value of individuals. Okay. So these are some of the traits that are required. For civil servants, maintaining a positive outlook is essential for improving problem-solving skills. When a civil servant will have positive attitude, then they improve their problem-solving skills. They enhance resilience. In the face of trouble, they are more resilient and making better decisions, especially under stress. They will make better decisions. This positive approach not only impacts their performance but also reflects the state's image in public interactions. Okay. Then we have PYQs. PYQs we will add in the next class. We'll end the class here. Okay. Thank you so much everyone. And another announcement is I will not be taking class for next few days. I will be on leave. I will go from Guwahati. I will be in Sivsagar. I have to work for flood relief and all. So I will be on leave for the next few days, and I will join you next week. So next few days I will not be taking class, and from the next week again I'll resume the classes. Okay. So thank you so much everyone. Vikash is saying, ma'am, I am out of station and facing network issues, so I will attend today's class through record. Okay, fine Vikash, no worries. And in fact today we had few we struggled a lot in our session in terms of mic and everything, noise and all, so that's okay. Thank you so much.